Hello everyone, Sandeep from Optimize here. I was tagged by Lorenzo in this interesting post from Rishi, and it considers scroll tracking, um, looking not only at if content has been viewed, which most scroll tracking will do, but also consumed from a kind of semantic standpoint. So what the content says, what the post says is, has the content actually been viewed or was it kind of whizzed by? So if we take this first post, for example, that would be considered having been viewed by most scroll tracking. A lot of not very good scroll tracking would also say if you took that element and I was somewhere down here, then all it's doing is saying, is the element higher up than the lower edge of the document, and it will consider absolutely everything up here to have been viewed as well, even if I've kind of jumped past it or the page naturally loaded somewhere down here, none of which is very good. The solution to this is thankfully fairly straightforward. So what I've built is this little function. It consumes a selector, so button, product submit, this is our CTA button, and a div description, so this is a block of text slightly lower down the page. So it consumes selectors and a minimum time for which they need to have been visible on the document in the viewport. One other thing about this function as well, I've decided to ignore the lower 20% of the page, kind of as an arbitrary number, but you can see, for example, there's an email icon that's just broken through the lower edge of the document here. Most scroll tracking would consider that having been viewed because it's in the viewport, it's broken the edge, therefore it's been viewed. But you and I both know that there's nothing about that which really says it's been consumed. It's a genuine thing to track. So most attention's up here, very little of it's down here, unless it's perhaps a sticky add to bag button or something like that. So I've taken 80% as an arbitrary number, easy to fine tune. But let's run this function and see what it does. So nothing to begin with. Add to bag button's not broken through that bit of the document. If I scroll up a fraction, we can see that tracks. A few seconds later, we should see this description track as well. Now, one of the useful things about this code as well is that it kind of does multi-tracking by default. I could write a little bit more in there to block it or make it optional. But if we take this add to cart button, for example, and scroll away from the page and then back in, 1 second later, you'll see that that tracks as well. This did not double track because at no point has this left the viewport. We scrolled up and down a fraction, but this was always there. What I could do is scroll way off, so now this thing's definitely disappeared from view. And then if I scroll back in, we'll see that one tracked first. 1 second later, you can see the 2 is appended there. And then a few seconds later, description should pop up as well. Here we are. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Fairly simple function to write. Plugged on a fairly regular Shopify store run by a good friend of mine, so nice to get a little plug-in any chance I get. But yeah, pretty straightforward. So if anyone wants to use it, talk about it, feel free to give me a shout, and yeah, we can look to productize it or do something a bit more refined with this style of tracking. Thank you everyone. Take care.